Set up to create chaos. Absolutely, that's what they did. We'll get on to Manchester United, Clinton, in just a moment. But first of all, the word crisis now at Liverpool. Is this completely sort of blown out of proportion? How do you see it?
No, there is a bit of a crisis there. It's not blown out of proportion because they've lost 4 on the bounce now. And if you look at it, at the start of the season, where we were saying they're scoring late goals and they're getting away with it, I thought, nah, it's a sign of title contenders. They were difficult games, but he's going to... Not under pressure like where I'm saying pressure in terms of his job, but pressure where people are going to question him at the moment, Arne Slot, because last year he had Jurgen Klopp's team. Now he's brought in his players, and listen, he's done well last year. I thought he was fantastic. He's brought in his players, and the players he's brought in are not adapting, have not performed. Only a few of them have performed at the moment. So question marks would be like, how is he going to turn it around with this group of players? Because if you look at it at the moment, it's the first time I've seen Virgil van Dijk. He was getting run quite a lot. And the reason he's getting run is because the fullback in front of him, Carragher, is not good enough at the moment. He's not settled at Liverpool at the moment. And I'm just looking at it and thinking to myself, when is it going to click for him? When is it going to click for Carragher? Because at Bournemouth he was so good. But at the Liverpool at the moment, it hasn't worked out. And listen, it's still early on in the season. This was bold, all the changes he made. I do like that. He went for it. And then when you get the equaliser, and Gary Neville made a great point, he said, there is another goal in this game, and he thinks Man United could score. And literally within 2-3 minutes, they did go and score because the game was open like that for Liverpool. So, I mean, yeah, it's so open, and Man United capitalised on it. So, yeah, there's a bit of pressure now on Arne Slot, and they got a big game in midweek in the Champions League, and they need to get back to winning ways.
When you talked about some of the problems there, and you talked about some of the new players not clicking and the defensive issues as well, what about the midfield, who maybe weren't aggressive enough yesterday? It felt like they were leaving a lot of space there to exploit.
Yeah, it's difficult. Listen, Gravenberch, I thought last season, Arne Slot turned Gravenberch into like one of the best number 6 in the Premier League. I thought he was outstanding. Obviously, he picked up an injury earlier, but he still managed to stay on the pitch. He got Szoboszlai, who can play right back or midfield, and McAllister. It's just them 3 are not functioning at the moment, where last season I thought they were outstanding and probably up there with one of the best midfield 3 in the Premier League, where this season it's just not working. But that's collectively. I wouldn't just look at the midfield. I'd look all around the pitch. You bring in someone like Wirtz, paid a lot of money. He starts on the bench. He comes on. Done all right when he came on, but hasn't really made an impact. Isak starts. He has a good opportunity where Konate plays him in through and he gets off the back of Maguire. Isak at Newcastle scores that. Just at the moment, it's not clicking for Liverpool at the moment and with their new players. But you would never write Liverpool off because once it does click, Wirtz and Isak, they will become a problem. But it might be too little, too late because the way Arsenal are playing.
OK. Yeah, I have hot-footed it down to the Monday Night Football studio to have a quick word with Jamie Carragher before he goes on air ahead of tonight's show. I say a quick word, but it feels like we've got so much to talk about after the weekend. Of course, we've got to start with Liverpool off the back of that 2-1 defeat to Manchester United yesterday. You've had about 24 hours to reflect on yesterday. What are your overriding thoughts?
Exactly as the same as they were right after the game. Bitterly disappointed. It's more than 3 points. It's a derby game. It's the biggest game in English football, isn't it? And to be fair, Liverpool have had it go their way for a long time now. So it was disappointing, but surprising, really. You know, that Manchester United went there and won at Anfield. It's a difficult place for any team to go, and not just under Arne Slot, going back under Jurgen Klopp as well. So maybe Manchester United were due one. Right,
we'll get on to Manchester United, but just sticking with Liverpool for a moment. You spoke yesterday after that defeat, saying, looking at the likes of Mo Salah, saying maybe some of the players shouldn't be guaranteed starters game in, game out. Do you think that Arne Slot now has some tough sort of selection decisions to make?
He has got tough selections, and that's maybe been a problem for him all season. Okay. In that sometimes he's almost had too many options and you're thinking, OK, what can I do? And it's always a problem when the team aren't playing well and winning. And when you've got those options on the bench, you always think that's going to be the next solution, or that's going to be better than what's on the pitch, because as players, we always know you play your best games when you don't play. You know, so... And I just think last season he had a situation where the team picked itself in most games, and the success of the team and the wins that they were having, you're going to keep with the same team. So he's got a few selection dilemmas, shall we say, and it's not easy. And that's something we're going to get into later on in the show.
Okay, what about Manchester United then? Things are suddenly looking a little bit rosier in that Manchester United garden. Gary Neville saying yesterday he thinks they can finish in the top 6.
He always says
What are your thoughts on that? Is he getting carried away?
Well, he was definitely getting carried away at the start of the season when he said Man United will finish in the top 4. I think Manchester United should be really challenging for European places. How far down the league that goes, I'm not quite sure right now. But They don't have, European football. When you look at the squad of players, we can say it's not befitting of a Manchester United team or squad, but it still should be finishing in the top 8, I would say, in the Premier League. So they should be given teams who we would think would be challenging for European places, something like maybe a Newcastle and Aston Villa, Tottenham. They should be giving them a run for the money. I wouldn't get too carried away with yesterday as a sole game, really. I think it's a brilliant win to go to Anfield and win, biggest rivals. But in terms of the grand scheme of things, where Ruben Amorim wants to take this team and the performance and the type of football, I think I'd look at that as a one-off and a standalone game on its own, rather than thinking, OK, this is the start of something, bright and better.
Before we go, I do want to ask you about the Premier League leaders, Arsenal, 3 points clear at the top now. But it's their defensive record this season, conceding just 3 goals. Is this going to potentially be the difference for them this season?
Yeah, I mean, I said at the start of the season, I didn't feel Gyökeres would be the man to win them the league. I always felt if Arsenal were going to win the league, it'd be the 2 centre-backs and the goalkeeper and Declan Rice in midfield and that defensive shield. And it looks like they're going to give Chelsea a real run for the money in terms of that defensive record under Jose Mourinho. Yeah. I think it was 15 Premier League goals. I think they're going to run that really close. And if they do, they've got a fantastic chance of winning the Premier League.
Just before we go, a word on Manchester City, who are the team 3 points back in second at the moment. Erling Haaland with another couple of goals on the weekend. He scored 11 of Manchester City's 17 goals this season. If they are to be part of this title race, how important is it that they don't become overly reliant on him? Is it possible to not become overly reliant on him?
I think it is impossible in some ways. He scores that many goals. He's that great a goal scorer. And he is the real standout when you look at even Liverpool right now, but mainly Arsenal, because obviously they brought Gyökeres in as well, to fix that sort of problem they had through the middle. And it's just a completely different level. And when you think of Manchester City winning the league, I think the only guy who can win them the league is Haaland.
You can, of course, see Monday Night Football from 6:30 on Sky Sports Premier League.
Yes, Manchester United beat Liverpool at Anfield for the first time in 9 years. United played long ball again, but why did they do that without a traditional target man up front? Ruben Amorim's selection caused a bit of confusion. Gary Neville said when he saw the team sheet, he thought United were more than likely to lose. The head coach brought back Harry Maguire and Matheus Cunha, dropping Benjamin Sesko, who'd started 4 games in a row until Sunday. United have played the most long passes out of anyone in the Premier League this season, and they played 75 of them at Anfield, the most that they've clocked up in any league game this campaign. They did it without a traditional number 9 against 2 of the most aerially dominant centre-backs in the division. No one has won more aerial duels than Virgil van Dijk over the last couple of years. And his defensive partner, Ibrahima Konate, is also on the list inside that top 10. Senna Lamans tried to hit Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo a combined 20 times in the match. Interestingly, from goal kicks, it was Cunha who was the target, drifting to the left, while some of these open play passes you can see here from outside the 6-yard box were targeted towards Mbeumo as they aimed to isolate him in a foot race against Virgil van Dijk. So let's take a look at second balls. You hear it on a Sunday morning, you hear it in manager press conferences. It's part of the very fabric of English football. Win the second ball. But what is it? Well, for this, we are looking at a team immediately winning possession following an aerial duel. Here are some of the examples from the game at Anfield yesterday. Significantly, when the ball goes up into the air, United players don't seem to be actively trying to win the first header, like maybe Benjamin Sesko would. They were there to inhibit the defender, to generate second balls. It's not that easy to win second balls. You're not entirely sure where the ball is going to land, but outnumbering your opponent in certain zones and being compact can all help. United won 3/4 of the second balls available to them at Anfield. And remember Amorim referencing Cunha's skills. He's brilliant at ball carrying, completing the most take-ons of any United player and completing the most passes in the final third. And Amorim's set up to create chaos worked from the start. The opening goal put United on their way. It came from almost a second phase of a second ball. Remember, Harry Maguire could have easily brought that ball down. He didn't. He headed it back into an area. Ahmad plays the ball to Mbeumo, and he does the rest. It seems you don't need a big man to play long ball.
John, we spoke a little bit before the game about Mo Salah. Again, no goals today, a couple of missed chances. I mean, your opinion, and I think what we said before the game as well with Michael, it will come for Mo Salah. He's done it for many, many years. The longer this goes on, though, I mean, I can't think of lots and lots of games you went without scoring. The longer it goes on for him, does it matter to him? Do you think he'll be worried? Do you think the manager will be worried? Do you think he could actually move him out? Because there's so many different options now.
Well, I don't think he'll necessarily be worried, but I think that what has happened is that Liverpool are now a different team with different players playing in a different style. In the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the team has been designed and set up for Mo to score goals, be it Trent creating it, be it anybody creating for Mo, Bobby Firmino. Whereas now, once you have Isak and you have Wirtz and you have Ekitike, we're now doing different things. Everything is not just for Mo to score. So the fact that Mo won't be as impactful has nothing to do with him himself. It's to do with the nature of the team, meaning that we're going to share the creativity. Everything's not going to go through Mo. Wirtz himself, you know, in terms of him being the number one at Bayer Leverkusen, where everything went through him, he hasn't necessarily showed the same form here because everything is now not going to go through him. But the team's still good enough as a combination of different people being creative in different ways rather than one person to win football matches. So I have no fears about Mo, no.
And just finally, John, what about Liverpool at the other end? They're giving up chances again today. 2 clean sheets in 17 games. Is that understandable given the inconsistency, the way that the back four's been this season?
Well, I don't look at it from a back four perspective. I look at it from a whole team defensive perspective. Remember when we had, you know, Fabinho and Milner and Henderson defensive midfield players, the fullbacks could attack, everyone attacks. Now our midfield is very creative. So we're very creative in midfield. But out of possession, we have to look at transitions when we haven't got the ball, how teams are causing us problems, like when Semenyo scored against us when he ran from his own half. So one thing, thinking that the solution to the problem is just signing great attacking players that we have. But the balance as a team defensively, when we haven't got the ball, not today because Man United sat back, but we have to get that right in terms of defending better as a team rather than just looking at it as a back four problem. Start of the game that it depends on what Man United turn up, which Manchester United turned up. And I didn't mean which Manchester United in possession, because in possession with Mbeumo and Cunha, Fernandes, they've got lots of good players. It's which Manchester United when they haven't got the ball. And the Man United off the ball after going 1-0 up, having to defend deep, they put on a proper performance. It was the proper Manchester United that turned up. The first goal helped them, which meant they could defend deep and defend the lead. Obviously, when Liverpool equalised, we felt it was only going to go one way, but they showed the character and the determination. So I was always worried if Manchester United turned up and played properly when they haven't got the ball. The problem they'll have moving forward is obviously do they do this in every game? When they play the so-called lesser teams, are they going to perform like this? Yes, Man City, they beat them in the cup final. The big games they turn up, but the consistency is their attitude and their commitment and their determination without the ball that they show today, which will help them moving forward if they do that.
What about Liverpool? Michael says he's not too worried because they're creating chances. There have been fine lines in each and every one of these defeats.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not worried at all because, of course, you look at the performances and the performance it warranted. Even today, they didn't warrant losing. They lost to Chelsea, who are a good team. So as long as they put in the performance, Liverpool are a bit different. Because regardless of who they play with the right commitment, determination, effort. So you'll win more games than you lose. So they lost today. Yes, they've lost against Chelsea and they've lost a few games. But if they continue to play this, they'll be fine. So, you know, and once again, we assume that because we then spent 200 million on Wirtz and Isak and Ekitike, things are just going to fall into place. They're young players trying to get the balance right between attack and defence. We're finding our feet. But I have no worries about Liverpool. I'm not saying they're going to go and win the league, but they'll play consistently well and be right up there come the end of the season.